Hi, I'm Pastor Tyler Barnes, church planter of Thrive Community Church in Oklahoma City. We planted a church because we really felt burdened for our unchurched and dechurched friends and neighbors. And there's also the sense of a holy discontentedness with the traditional church model that we were currently in. We really felt like there was supposed to be this depth of relationship among believers that quite honestly, we weren't experiencing, but we felt like was there in Acts chapter 2, and when we were really personally hungry for that. And so this actually kind of began this one question that started to resonate inside of us, and that's what would happen if we lived out the Jesus stuff in the everyday rhythms of our life? Like, instead of just learning the Jesus stuff at church, if we actually were to live the Jesus stuff. And this led us eventually to move to the urban core of Oklahoma City and launch a missional community group that would meet in our living room. And so that group started with 10 of our friends, and over 18 months it continued to grow to a place where it outgrew our living room. And so out of that community group came our core team that would eventually launch our Sunday gathering in September 2020. My favorite story that illustrates the vision of a missional church is Cody's story. We were talking in our MC one Thursday night about living with intention and what that might look like to engage people that we knew that were friends or coworkers that were far from God. And so we asked people to do a few things. It all started with making a list of all of the people that you knew that you might be able to do these things with. And so the first thing we asked them to do was to pray for them daily, to connect with them weekly, to try to bless them in some way monthly, and to invite them to Jesus-centered stuff consistently. And so my wife and I, that's what we did. We said, okay, if we're talking about this stuff, then we're also going to live this stuff. And so we made a list of a few people, and one of the people on that list was one of a family that was my wife's, that my wife knew, and his name's Cody. Was the husband, and we began to go over there every week and just share a meal and talk about life. They knew we were about to launch our Sunday gathering, and about a week beforehand, Cody said, hey, we're going to come on Sunday and support you all. And so that Sunday was launch Sunday. They came, they sat on the front row, and as service was wrapping up, there was tears coming down Cody's face. And afterwards, he says, I want to begin a relationship with Jesus. And so less than a month later, he decided that he wanted to open up his home and have a missional community group meet in it. And so that's how we got our second missional community group. And he wanted to do that because he wanted people to experience what he had experienced. And so I think to me, being a missional church just really boils down to sharing your life with someone. So sharing our life with people, and then looking for opportunities to bring the gospel into the conversation. So one of the biggest lessons that we've learned kind of through our church planting journey is that it's not about having the perfect program, but it's about being intentional with our personal relationships and prayer. And so this makes church really messy. Anytime you have people involved, it gets kind of crazy. But it's also made our life really full. And so we've had to learn to take a few things out of our life, to be intentional about the things that we believe really matter. And we've also had to walk all of our people through that process. And if you're going to live out the gospel rhythms, then there's other rhythms in your life that you have to remove as well. And so it's a lot of what we do, it feels like, is like reparenting people around a different type of church or a different way of church. And so really, like, this is missional church has turned my understanding of church upside down, because it's not about what you can do for the church, but it's like being the church that our city really needs. And so we have this big God-sized goal, and it's to reach 1,000, or to have 1,000 missional community groups meeting in homes all across our city, forming disciples, planting churches, and bringing the gospel to bear in broken spaces. And so that's what missional church is to us. It's been our experience, and I just want to end by saying this idea of missional church has changed me and my family more than anyone else, and the way that it shaped us and shifted our understanding of what it means to be a follower of Jesus has been the biggest blessing.